Without further ado, it's time to kick off this session. And so I'd like to formally introduce AAPOR President-elect Mary Loesch.
Well, I did select it, but it was a little bit more than I actually thought about at the time. But anyway, hello, everybody. Yes, I am Mary Loesch. I am your VP until this day is over. And I'm here to introduce your president, Jordon Peugh. And I want to provide an opportunity to allow you all to learn just a little bit more about her. And first, I want to note that it's been a real privilege to serve with Jordon. And she has really, really provided steady grace, keen insights, and she's navigated a lot this year. And it's been exceptionally difficult at times. There are challenges with the funding landscape, as many of us have experienced directly, that has had impacts on AAPOR as well. And there have been changes in federal priorities, all those kinds of things. And she's kept things afloat after we lost our executive director just a few weeks after conference last year. And she quickly put together a search committee, and we were able to get a new executive director. Many of you've probably all definitely seen Betty Whitaker. She's right over here. She's wonderful, and we're happy to have her. Jordon also oversaw a comprehensive governance review, and some of you, I hope, have had a chance to read the update that she provided just last week about some of those outcomes. And she has also supported committee chairs. We have, again, lots of things that have happened. In addition to all of those other things I just mentioned, some really important things that have happened this year. We've had code review, and if you have not voted for that code, take a moment before you walk out of this room and do so. Code review has happened. The AI task force report, which is major, encourage y'all to look at that too. And we have bylaws that have started that review. They'll be out to you later. So lots of things going on, and she has overseen all of that. And also importantly, making sure that our AAPOR voice is known and heard as we weighed in publicly on numerous issues of critical importance to all of us. And I know I speak for the entire 25-26 Council in saying thank you, Jordon, for a job very well done. I want to spend just a little bit of time sharing some of the professional highlights of Jordon's career to date. Her academic training was in sociology. She studied at SUNY Purchase and NYU. Her exposure to surveys began as an undergraduate with her thesis. And her first professional position was at the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia. She followed that with positions at Peppers & Rogers Consulting, and then the New York State Office of Alcoholism and Substance Abuse Services. Her next positions of increasing responsibility and scope moved her more squarely into the survey sphere with vice president positions at Harris Interactive and then GFK Knowledge Networks. And she's currently Chief Business Officer at Social Science Research Solutions, or SSRS, where she focuses on strengthening client partnerships and guiding very complex research initiatives. In terms of her AAPOR service, word on the street is that Molly Brody steered Jordon to AAPOR in 2003, and she's been with us ever since. Jordon started her service to AAPOR as a member of the Education Committee in 2010, was part of the Research Hacks Subcommittee in 2014, became a member of the Communications Committee in 2014 when she was elected to Executive Council the first time as Communications Chair. She served on Council again as Secretary-Treasurer beginning in 2017 and served on the Finance Committee during that time as well. She was part of the Nominating Committee in 2020 and co-chaired the AAPOR Staffing Transition Committee in 2021. In 2024, she was elected once again to Council as VP President-elect, which leads us to today. On top of all this, she's also been very active in New York AAPOR and Panj AAPOR for many years. Now, when I think about Jordon and AAPOR, I think about her service and groups like this, the outgoing and incoming council in 2019. In the photo, Jordon's heading out as Secretary-Treasurer, and I was coming in as Counselor at Large that year. Here are a few pictures that may seem quintessentially Jordon. Classic, put together, and here's the funny part today. I said even some with pearls in that last right-hand photo with friends at an AAPOR conference. She's also got on pearls today. I just noticed that. All of these are consistent with the fact that she's calm, cool, collected, but there are a few other tidbits and facets about Jordon that I'd like to share with you today that may be just a little less familiar. So, Jordon has many faces. She has a very, very happy face. And she has some other faces that are very important to recognize. And I'm going to highlight some of the other facets of Jordon. So, the early years. Take you back to Kansas, where she grew up. Yes, the adorable pixie child is in fact Jordon. And the early teen pic with her good friend Deirdre, I want you to note that Jordon is sporting the ever-popular scrunchie. It's a little hard to see, but it's there. And a fashion-forward, oversized coat. I'll come back to her design talents momentarily. So at 18, Jordon moved with her family from Kansas to New York and began college at SUNY Purchase studying sociology, as I mentioned before. After she finished her undergraduate degree, she became enthralled with music. In her little Brooklyn apartment, she worked to learn to play the guitar and wrote and recorded 3 songs. Very impressive. What you may not know is that she had a powerful motivator for this new creative focus. His name was Michael, and he was a musician. So her efforts were not in vain. She and Michael Shelley married and then welcomed their beloved daughter, Juniper. For the most part, the music legacy has been passed down from Jordon to Juniper, who, as a young teen in her own right, wrote and recorded albums, collaborating with her dad. Jordon says they are the real musicians in the family now, and that she really can't sing. Now, I don't have any evidence one way or the other about that, but I'm not so sure. So I want to assure you, though, that the creative outlets are still available to Jordon. And so the creative part of Jordon, the competitive part of Jordon, we're going to spend a couple minutes on that. As you see here, on the left, I just pulled some things that I call regular crafts, all right? These are basic stuffed animals. These are little bags, things that many of us might, if we worked at it, be able to do. Then there are Jordon crafts. I can tell you I have never seen a giraffe in a designer version of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's robes. Even more interesting are the Squid Games ensembles on the SSRS mascots. Definitely not as classic, nor as traditional, but what I've learned is those are still definitely Jordon as well. But wait, there's more. I've also learned about a whole other facet of Jordon's creativity. Yes, rumor has it that she has a penchant for designing and creating children's clothing. Who knew? Well, Heidi Klum did. Although she has denied it, I was able to find some evidence of Jordon's runway years. For example, here you see a lovely floral print ensemble. And yes, Jordon created what you see here. Here is another pretty in peach pairing. And finally, we come back to the music-inspired theme with a lovely multicolored guitar print dress. This was, I believe, in fact, shown in New York Fashion Week. She does not talk much about her friendship with Tim Gunn, but there are rumors that they are really good buddies. Now, the other fascinating dimension of Jordon that I have learned about is her love of gaming. Competitive, perhaps, that's the motivator. Fun-loving, or maybe a little of both. And no, I don't mean Minecraft. I mean old school games like Password, new games like Wavelength, which she taught a dinner table full of council members at a meeting just this past year. And then there are the dice. She claims the dice she carries with her at all times are for a game called Farkle. See, she has dice. She just pulled them out. Now, Farkle is a game that I'm not familiar with, but I have learned is a real game. However, I'm not sure many people love Farkle enough to carry dice around with them at all times. Maybe. So when you run into Jordon, ask her what's with the dice. And if you can't find her, you may want to check the nearby alleys. Yes, she can surprise you. She's formidable. She's got game. And now, from Kansas to New York to New Jersey to LA, it's my honor to present you with your 25-26 AAPOR president and my friend, Jordon Peugh.
and the rest of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out, we can work it out. Think of what you're saying, you can get it wrong and still think that it's all right. Think of what I'm saying.
That was great. Thank you, Mary. I love that. And I have a couple of Farkle games if someone wants to be a convert. Boy, thank you so much. And those pictures of Presley and Charlotte and Frida, so great. Do love that. Thank you so much. Before I begin, I want to take a few minutes to thank the people who have been an incredible support to me over this presidency. First, I want to thank the AAPOR Council that has served with me over the last 2 years. Working alongside you has been a privilege. Your thoughtfulness, your commitment to this field, your willingness to step up, often in difficult moments, has made this experience meaningful and rewarding. I also want to thank the incoming council, who I will have the opportunity to serve with for the next year. AAPOR continues to thrive because dedicated people, like yourselves, are willing to take the responsibility of guiding this community. I would especially like to thank my executive committee, incoming president, Mary Loesch. She has been an incredible partner and a steady presence throughout this year. Frauke Kreuter, past president, has been a generous mentor and wise advisor. Betty Whitaker has been AAPOR's new executive director, has made my life immeasurably easier and is such an asset to AAPOR. Tamara Terry, our treasurer, has been thoughtful and deeply committed, especially when we needed her most. And Ting Yan has so graciously agreed to extend her term, thanks to the governance task force who sprung that on her. I also want to thank my AAPOR support group, the people who have sustained me over the last years, my besties, Molly, Kristen, and Anna, and so many other AAPOR friends who have offered their advice, encouragement, and perspective. A particular thank you to my SSRS colleagues, especially SSRS's president, Melissa Herman, who have made it possible to juggle two demanding roles. We don't get involved in AAPOR for the glory, though having this presidential suite has been really, really nice. I won't lie. We get involved for the people, and I'm so thankful for the brilliant, thoughtful, and generous members who support this association, even the ones sitting way in the back. Finally, I also want to thank my husband, Michael, and my daughter, Juniper, who are here today. They have listened to me talk about AAPOR for more than 20 years and have appropriately teased my nerdiness when I get too excited about the arrival of an issue of POQ. So I do really miss those physical copies. Okay. When I first became vice president, president-elect in 2025, I thought I might focus my presidential address on something like the business of research, representing my perspective as chief business officer of a research company, and thinking about how AAPOR might consider its financial stability and growth. Then in 2025, a little something happened. A new administration taking a chainsaw to the statistical and scientific institutions of this country, a national leader suing and threatening some of the most public faces of our industry, and the economic fallout of these and other actions that have shaken our industry to the core. So once I got out of the fetal position, I had to grapple with the new priorities for this AAPOR presidency. So today, what I want to do is bear witness to this time we are living through and provide hope for the future. There are 4 things I will reflect on: the moment we are in, the work we do, the community that makes that work possible, and how we respond to these times. I want to present not just my own voice, but those across our community. To do so, I have talked to members from a wide variety of fields, experiences, and circumstances. I share their views along with my own, and I thank them for the honesty, vulnerability, and inspiration they gave me. We are living through a moment of profound instability in the systems that produce and protect evidence. The federal statistical system, one of the pillars of how we understand the country, has faced extraordinary pressure. Programs have been halted, funding has been threatened or withdrawn, statistical leaders have been dismissed. Institutions designed to operate with independence have faced increasing political pressure. So many of us have lost our jobs or found our work threatened. The American Statistical Association reported that all 13 federal statistical agencies lost staff in 2025, with some, like NCES, at least temporarily, almost totally demolished. The shuttering of USAID halted critical research projects and is projected to lead to a staggering number of avoidable deaths. These systems were built over decades. The people who have dedicated their lives to these objectives have created a body of knowledge that is essential to understanding the way we live and how that changes. The statisticians, survey methodologists, analysts and researchers, project managers and directors, contractors and subcontractors. There has been messaging through Doge and other high-level communications that the work of these individuals is biased, wasteful, unneeded, or worse. Many of those people are members of this community, and this rhetoric and these actions are having a profound effect. One experienced federal researcher told me she was considering getting out of the field altogether. She couldn't see a path forward for herself. We are losing some of our greatest assets and future leaders. For those that remain, we bear witness to their integrity, persistence, and quiet professionalism as they continue to produce evidence when the environment around them is uncertain and unsupportive. We see and empathize with the survivor's guilt many experience. We also recognize the disruption in the lives of many who have lost their jobs and positions and are faced with remaking their careers, and having to do so at a time when such uncertainty and trepidation has impacted the full industry, making it a less than hospitable place for job seekers and industry changers. A displaced federal worker I spoke to said she feels a sense of grief and loss, grieving not only for her own personal losses, but for the bigger picture of what is happening to the federal government data collection, to public health research, and to the scientific community. I spoke to a small business owner who saw critical work that she and her colleagues had done shelved to possibly never see the light of day. A graduate student shared with me challenges she has experienced, having her research funding terminated, seeing fewer placements for her fellow students at universities, and being forced to grapple with new worries about her international student status. She said, "When I was coming to the US, I didn't think I would have to worry that scientific research could be compromised in a country like this." Others shared, "The institutional knowledge we have lost will take years to recover. The last 18 months have felt like a ticking countdown clock, and the foundation is shakier than I thought. I want to acknowledge the extreme stress that has characterized our field and so many of our members in 2025 and 2026, and bear witness to the professional and personal toll this has taken." Next, I want to talk about the importance of our work. At its core, what we do is deceptively simple. We ask people about their lives, how they think, live, work, and experience the world. We do so carefully, systematically, and with the goal of understanding more than just the loudest voice. The importance of that work becomes clearer in moments like this, when increasingly we are living in a world where shared evidence itself is contested, where data can be dismissed because it's inconvenient, where research can be labeled fraudulent because it challenges power. Some specific examples of this are the baseless lawsuit against Ann Selzer, the litigation threats to the New York Times, CNN, and their research partners, the demand for cancellation of programs deemed focused on DEI, and the removal of non-binary gender categories from federal research, to name just a few. For those of us in this room, that runs counter to everything our field stands for. We may never measure perfectly, but through rigorous methods and transparency, we highlight the experiences, hopes, and fears of everyday Americans, and in a democracy, that matters. Because governing without understanding the public is governing in the dark. What we produce is not just data, it's a record of what people think, what they experience, and how society is changing. We must protect that, celebrate it, feel pride in the importance of the work that we do. A researcher at the census told me that she was most proud to be part of a system where, despite current narratives, the goal is to measure truth to the best of our ability across time, across administrations, and across events. Through all of this, the work continues. A statistician at a large research company spoke of his pride in the work we do. He said, linking what people are thinking and saying to policy has never been more important. I now want to reflect on the community, because this work does not happen in isolation. It depends on a diverse and interdependent community. The work we do is the product of government, academia, nonprofit organizations, and the private sector. Each plays a distinct role. Government statisticians establish the benchmarks. Academics develop and test new ideas and train future researchers. Nonprofit and election researchers help us understand civic life. And commercial researchers innovate, finding ways to make data collection more scalable and accessible. We often approach problems differently. We use different methods. We operate under different constraints. We do not always agree. We debate probability and non-probability sampling. Boy, do we debate probability and non-probability sampling. We debate qualitative and quantitative approaches. We debate new tools, new data sources, and most recently, artificial intelligence. These debates can be intense. They can feel divisive, but they exist because we are all trying to answer the same questions. How do we understand people accurately? How do we do this work responsibly? And how do we do it within real-world budgetary and time constraints? Our disagreements are a sign of a healthy scientific community, a community that makes our work possible, improves the work, and at times, like these, helps us bear it. Multiple people I spoke to talked about the importance of having people to turn to that believe in the work we do, to bounce ideas off of, to call when they need questions answered, a sympathetic human to talk to, not an obsequious chatbot. The government employees I spoke to remarked on how important this community has been in making it possible to keep going when they felt disparaged, and in helping them make connections in the search for a new opportunity. A private sector researcher reflected on how we share expertise to improve the work we do, even when there could be commercial reasons for not doing so. A multicultural researcher noted that perhaps our recent struggles have brought us together. She said, I have co-pollinated with so many others that I wouldn't have before because we're working through the same struggles. And a methodologist at a startup company noted that through all this craziness, he is seeing more acceptance and creativity in our community and more openness to the wide variety of practices and innovations. I can see frustration among our ranks as we debate how to respond to today's challenges, how to move forward, how to value and publicize what we do. Some have called for the community to have a stronger voice. Some have expressed that doing so would put their membership at risk. Some have suggested our separating ourselves based on method. Some have felt marginalized, seeing the work they do categorized as lesser. I urge our community to recognize that what unites us is more important than our differences. Remember that your fellow researchers are seeking to do just what you're doing. increase our understanding of a given population or issue. They may be doing it with different methods, budgets, and styles, but we are united in seeking clarity, and we are family in this enterprise. Be kind to each other. Seek to understand and empathize. Show respect to your fellow researcher, even if the work that they do seems only marginally connected in our big Venn diagram of the research industry. Now, what do we do with all of this? Thank you for those laughs, I really appreciate it. How will we respond to this moment? Not just endure it, but build a more resilient, innovative, and inclusive future for our field. This is why AAPOR is so important. Through AAPOR, we can support the work and strengthen the community that makes it possible. AAPOR facilitates the critical work of public opinion research by creating task forces, providing forums to debate and discuss, educating on best practices, and evolving the standards of our industry. Our work on cell phone samples and text messaging paved the way for wide use of new methodological tools. Our pre-election polling task force reports changed the way we conduct and talk about election research. Our reports on opt-in and probability panels have given us frameworks for transparency and a shared language for these sample sources, as just a few examples. Our response to these times should be to keep driving forward. We must continue to do what AAPOR has done for 81 years, help the industry understand itself, improve what we do, and identify new challenges and opportunities. In the past 18 months, through these challenging times, AAPOR has released major resources on pre-election polling, establishment surveys, texting for research, linking survey and non-survey data, and most recently, on responsible AI integration. We have updated our Code of Professional Ethics and Practices, which I'm sure you have all voted on before you leave this room, as Mary said. We have hosted webinars and short courses, organized new workshops, and put together 2 major conferences, including this one. Indeed, all of this work is carried out by volunteers, supported by a small but mighty staff who work collaboratively from their different vantage points and experiences to express the latest information about our field. Keeping this collaborative enterprise going is what will keep our industry vibrant and resilient through these times, and is what AAPOR does best. Well, this and squabble on AAPORnet. AAPOR's response is also to foster the community doing this work. We are a meeting place. Every year through our conference, we provide an opportunity to come together and share ideas and network. If lately the conference has felt like a therapy session, it is needed for us to support each other during these times. We also need to ensure that our industry is expanding and inclusive. AAPOR's commitment to diversity has helped reshape the field and made this organization stronger and better able to respond to today's challenges. We must continue to prioritize this. The AAPOR affinity groups give us more ways to connect and share challenges. Today, we have 10 affinity groups, with the latest one, ConsultPOR, formed in part as a reaction to the recent movement of practitioners out of traditional employee settings into business for themselves. And on Monday, Council approved our 11th one, the Global Research Affinity Group. We also need to provide tangible, practical support to our community. Last year, when so many faced layoffs, travel restrictions, and financial hardships, we rallied as a community and raised a record amount of donations to support conference travel grants. We also provide upskilling, professional development, job coaching, networking opportunities, all led by volunteers in this room and beyond. In terms of our individual response, the people I spoke to offered a clear message: steady on, stay curious, and do this together. One academic said, "We need to keep doing what we've always been doing, learning, innovating, and using evidence-based approaches." A business owner urged us to lean into the unknown. And the student reminded me that when we multiply our efforts, it's way stronger than we can imagine. My call to action today reflects these sentiments. Stay the course, seek help when you need it, and provide a hand up to another when you can. And don't give up, because what we do is important. The industry has faced challenges before: shifts in methodology, new technologies, declining response rates, new forms of data, and now a double whammy of a federal administration hostile to research and the rapid proliferation of artificial intelligence. What do? We engage with these challenges. We communicate our value. We set standards. We adapt our practices. And we continue the work. Get involved. AAPOR needs each of you. Join a committee. Say yes if I ask you to run for council. Ask me or any of us on council how to get involved. Be a deeper part of this organization that provides a voice, a space, and a framework for what we do. Get involved outside of AAPOR too. Write local op-eds. Contact your representatives. Reach out to your colleagues in need and support causes that support the industry, including AAPOR. Join us in this moment, in this community, and in being the way forward. As I close, I want to return to where I began. How do we bear witness to the moment we are living through? And how do we ensure that this work and this community can thrive in the years to come? AAPOR has existed for more than 8 decades. Through profound change, the purpose of this work has remained remarkably consistent: to create valid and transparent data about behaviors, attitudes, and characteristics that enable informed societal decision-making. That work is not always easy, but it remains essential because no society can understand itself without evidence about the people who live within it. When we do this work well, carefully, ethically, and openly, we create something larger than a data set, report, or publication. We create a record of the public's voice. In that sense, this field helps our society bear witness to itself. One of the people I talked to said, "We're writing history right now." How we respond to this moment will be something that future researchers will examine. They will seek to understand the foundations of our systems that produce evidence. They will ask how those systems were challenged, and they will ask what we did in response. Our responsibility is to strengthen what we do, improve our tools, defend our standards, and support one another. We continue by doing what this field has always done: help the public be heard, help society understand itself, and strengthen the democracy that depends on both. Thank you.